It's finally over, ladies and gents. That's right. The XRP case is over, and at the same time, the market is waking up as Ethereum finally breaks over $4,000. In this market, this is everything we could have asked for. What I really think is going to happen is that XRP will go completely crazy. Also, we're getting closer than ever to the old season. This video is full of things to talk about. Take a deep breath, sit back, and let's begin. As a first step, let's quickly look at the market as a whole, as it is rapidly expanding. We also saw earlier that Bitcoin's popularity was falling very quickly. We're basically back to the same point of view we had before, which is that alt season is just around the corner. We are now in Ethereum's second part of the cycle. I think that's pretty clear from the fact that Ethereum has done worse than Bitcoin. While you're thinking about that, you might also look at XRP and think, that's interesting. The second part of the circle is now here, and it's called Ethereum. It doesn't seem like it, does it? Because XRP has gone up 9% in the last 24 hours and is now up almost 14%. We've made more than three. It's going to be even bigger than 2021. And since XRP is already selling at these prices and has done well so far this cycle, guess what? It's going to get a lot bigger from now on, especially as the season goes on. XRP, on the other hand, is looking very good so far. Trading volume is up 150% today alone. Here is a picture of the daily chart for the past 7 days. We've gained over 40% in the past month, or about 14%. And guys, it went up almost 500% last year, and the chart looks crazy. We are going to talk about it. But yeah, I agree that this is a huge amount of trade. XRP is the third biggest cryptocurrency and just behind Ethereum in terms of daily trading volume. This is not counting stablecoins. That's why it makes a lot of sense. However, $11.6 billion is a lot of money compared to, say, USDC. This is because XRP is similar to stablecoins, and we already know how big stablecoins are in the space. It's the market for liquidity, so the fact that XRP's trade volume is going through the roof should tell you everything, right? A lot of people are happy that this case is over. We'll talk about that in a moment, but for now, this is the 3-day chart. We'll also quickly look at the daily view, which will be a little different. We could also draw this in a different way. It looks a bit like this, where we are breaking out. The big mark of 320, we're now going after the next big zone, and it's worse on the third day, right? We think the next goal for the 3 days will be 350 cents. If we look at the daily, it's about 356. Get back 360 cents will go crazy for XRP. This move here looks good all around. The way prices are moving right now looks amazing. You may remember from yesterday's updates that I was mostly talking about price charts. The main thing I was looking at was just higher highs in XRP so far. If we look at this lower time frame structure, we can see that nice rise, right? It looks great that we were able to hold the rise. We've reached a very low point. We've had some better lows. After that, the important thing was going over these highs. We're feeling good. If you look at the chart right now, XRP is very bullish because it has hit a big high. The structure is very optimistic here. And when we look at the bigger picture over 3 days, I want you to know that even though prices have been going down recently to about 321 cents after losing $3, they are still going down. Even though the market as a whole was very bullish, we hung on to major support. What was even crazier was that everyone was still expecting prices to go down. I'm glad that XRP has held up well. That being said, here is the big news about the SEC and the Ripple case. The appeals were thrown out. That is, both sides pretty much gave up on their pleas. It's been a long time since we last got something like this. Guys, it's been 5 years in the making. Our patience has paid off as we wait for this. Also, I've been talking about it for the past couple of weeks because it's been about a month since Ripple gave us the big news that they were dropping their appeal. We were just waiting calmly because we thought this case was over. To be honest, I don't think anyone really thought this case would go on. And everything that has happened this year around Ripple was the big sign that this case was pretty much over. We began to see more and more purchases. We saw Hidden Road, which was a big one, right? In April, that took place. If they didn't want to finish that case, they wouldn't have done this. During this whole time, we kept hearing about the ETF talks and what's next, both for the ETF and for Ripple. In order to build their business, they said that they are in a acquiring phase of the market and want to buy as many companies as possible. When I look at it again, I feel like the case was already over because the SEC is now the crypto-friendly SEC. They want the US to be a great place for new ideas, that they would just say, okay, well, you know what? Made a lot of sense. It's also our turn to drop our plea. Let's move on from this case. Let's get this party started. I'm so glad this big improvement is finally here after 5 years. Yes, I do remember when we got the big news about this case. Everyone was shocked because for the next 12 months or so, XRP did nothing. You know that XRP still had a great run if we go back in time. In terms of COVID's lows, and I'm not even going to say the exact low point, we still did about a 130% push. It's about a 1700% push if we go from that low. In the past, XRP was taken off of almost all big exchanges, and it had a very bad reputation. To say it again, we know that this time, because everything is in front of us, and the case is pretty much over. We could finally get things going. It was finally possible to see what XRP can do. I believe this will be very exciting for everyone. Also, I'd like to talk more about this, but I'm not sure if I have time in this video. We might save it for another movie, but you do know about Rel Financial, right? Rel Financial was just bought by Ripple, It happened just one day before the news came out that the case was over. This was a huge purchase because Rail Financial is one of the biggest names in the stablecoin market.